So task 5 is putting it all together, and what that means is, okay, we have the camera class, right, with its x and y offset. We have its update method that calculates, we have its update method that calculates the x offset and the y offset, and we have the apply method that takes in an object and returns its adjusted rect based on the x offset and the y offset. So now that we have everything, let's implement the camera, right? What we have at the moment is everything not running through the camera. The width and height of the screen are what they originally were, yet the dimensions of the world are bigger than the dimensions of the screen, right? So my ship is at the bottom of this longer, wider world, and when I press the W key, like I'm going to do right now, the ship is slowly moving up the world until it gets to the visible part of the screen. All right. So what we want to do is first thing you want to do is create a camera object, and we can do that right here right after we make the ship. So we'll say camera is equal to camera with 2 parentheses. This calls the constructor for the camera, which creates the x offset, y offset instance variables. Let's go up there to see if there are any parameters that we need to send to it, and there are none, right? It just initializes them both to 0, 0. All right, great. So now that we have our camera object, we need the camera object to run update. And not only do we need it to run update, we need it to run update and be given the ship, because it calculates the x offset and the y offset value based on the ship's position. All right. So let's go ahead and come down here where we're updating, and we'll say camera.update. So now it's calculating the x offset, y offset. And now let's use that x offset and use that y offset. How can we do that? Well, let us start with this platform group. All right. Now the platform group is a group, and that's great because we could say draw, and it will blit every object's surface onto the screen at its rect. Right. That's what draw does. But in order for us to run through camera, we need to get rid of that, or I'm sorry, not get rid of it, but replace it with a for loop. Okay, so we say for p for platform in platform group, so that's going to iterate through every single platform object, right? We're going to screen.blit p.image. Remember, blit takes an image and it takes its rect, right? But we're not just going to give it p.rect, because that's the rect of the platform without having been adjusted according to the x offset and the y offset. Right? So what we need to do is we need to run camera.apply, and we're going to pass into apply. If we take a look up here, what does apply take in? It takes in an object, right? It returns a rect after it's added the x offset to the x and it's added the y offset to the y, right? Then it recreates a new rect and it returns it. All right. So when we're down here and we are running apply, well, we're good because this apply method is going to return the adjusted rect of the platform, right? So we have an image here and we have a rect here, and we need to give it the object that we want to adjust the rect of, which is the p. And so since we have this and we're using this for loop to blit all of the platforms after they've been adjusted via the camera apply, we don't need this. All right, this is just going to blit them based on their old rect values, their original rect values. We don't want that. We want their applied rect values. Okay. So we'll go ahead and save that and we'll run it. And okay, so camera takes an argument. That's what this says here, right? Takes 2, and 1 is given, right? 1 is given because self is the first argument, right? But we don't put it there. Self is the camera. The second argument would be the ship, right? If we remember, we come up here to camera update. It takes in a ship, right? So let's go ahead and pass in the ship there. We'll hit play, and here we go, right? I'm pressing up So things are a little bit off. All right, the platforms are good, but the ship is not good. All right, what's the problem here? The problem here is that we are not running the ship's rect through camera apply. All right, that's causing our problem. So how do we fix that? We run camera.apply and we give it the ship. And remember, apply is going to return the ship's rect, adjusted rect, right, based on the offset of the camera. So now we'll run it. Beautiful. Look at that, right? The ship is where he should be, at the bottom of the world, 3 lengths up from the bottom. I'm going to test the bottom boundary. It works. I'm going to test the left boundary. It works. I test the right boundary. That works. And I can fly around, right? So we have our camera, ladies and gentlemen. Now we just need to make some adjustments to it.